Yeah, well, it's March, and our team is one of 24 teams still competing in NCAA sanctioned events, and we couldn't be more excited. We know that we've worked really, really hard to get to where we are. We also know that we have a big challenge, in front of us with playing Illinois, but we're a team that's going to continue to grow and continue to try to climb higher. I cannot say enough about the leadership of Tamira Poindexter and Delaney Crawford, recently named to the WBCA All-America finalist list. It's well-deserved. That national recognition is so well-deserved, by them, and it's obviously a great honor for our team.
Questions? Nathan?
Coach, obviously your players, or no TV player ever has had a postseason run like this. How are they reacting to it?
Yeah, well, I think that they're really excited. It's fun to play in March. It's what you train for. It's what you dream of. And I also think they're very focused. We know that Illinois is a tough team. They're a team that has beat 3 teams that are in the NCAA tournament. And so we know that we have a challenge in front of us. And the way that our team has responded to those challenges all year is they embrace those challenges. And I think they're excited to do that. You come to our practices, and, in March your practices are a little bit shorter, but they're fun and they're focused. And so I'm excited for us.
So have you seen kind of like a vibe change in the players as it keeps going?
Yeah, it's really fun because they're excited for each other, yet at the same time they're holding each other to great accountability in practice. They understand the importance of the moments of possessions in games. Throughout our postseason run, they've been able to kind of get a different perspective of, what we say all along is we focus on the process and every possession matters. Now you're seeing close games on TV in the tournament. You're seeing close games, that we're in where those possessions really matter, and they're able to lift each other up and help each other be successful in those moments.
Obviously, you're focused on this season and this postseason run, but how much easier does it make your job of the program building, of getting to your ultimate jobs this postseason run?
Yeah, it's all part of building a program. Being able to see our players be successful is first and foremost our priority. And it's so much fun to be able to share in that success with them and share in those joys with them. We know that we have a bigger vision of where our program wants to go and how we need to get there and how much work is ahead of us to do that. But being able to take those steps forward this season is huge.
Great.
I want to piggyback off of that. Just the fact that these girls are now in this third-round quarterfinal and not having to pack a bag like we talked about in post-game on Sunday. Is the goal now, though, like written on the board to get to Indianapolis? I know you have Illinois first, but is the goal on the board for Indianapolis?
Well, we certainly want to continue to compete, and that involves winning. And we know and we understand how important that can be each game. We focus a lot on the process. Do we want to be in Indy and compete in that Final Four and be playing for a championship on April 3rd? Absolutely, we do. We know that we have to focus on that next step that's in front of us in that process. But from a vision standpoint, absolutely, we talk about what that looks like to be able to help to have those dreams come alive. It means that you've got to be here, you've got to be in the now, and you've got to be where your feet are in that moment.
Just from outside looking in on all these injuries that have happened this season with all your guards, with the Ray being out this season and Katya coming back, talk about that and how this postseason run is still happening even though you had all these injuries throughout the season.
Well, I think every team faces challenges, in their own way, and some of those are controllable and some of those are uncontrollable. And you look back to last year and you look back to the experience that we had when our team may have faced similar injuries or injuries even to players in a different way. And you look at the growth that we've had over the course of a year to be able to handle that as a team. Some of the adversity we faced looks very similar to last year, and you have players who are handling that same adversity and they're handling it better and they're handling it in a better way. And I will say this, I think that our team this year has depth. I think that we have a lot of contributors. I love our bench contribution. I love what we're getting out of Elise Hill and Amira Brown, and we have players who are stepping up. And at the end of the day, you guys hear me rant all the time about our teamwork and toughness, and there isn't a greater display of teamwork than a team in March who sees adversity and who has different things happen throughout the game, and you see every player stepping up.
That's the last thing I want to talk about is your freshmen. Obviously, you've got girls like Hadley and Tamira and Delaney, but talk about, Maddie and like you said, Elise and girls like that. Talk about how they've been able to be such contributors so early on in their college careers?
Yeah, well, Maddie and Elise they're great workers, first of all, in practice. They give everything they have. They do extra work. They do extra shooting. They do extra film work. They're really bought into our program, into our culture, and you have been able to see steady growth in both of those individuals. We're really excited for the way that Maddie's been able to step into a starting role and contribute in great amounts for us on both the offensive and defensive end of the floor. We're excited for Elise's growth this year and how she's playing right now and the confidence that she has. And I mean, there's not anybody in this gym who thinks Elise is going to miss when she gets that open transition three. And it's so much fun to see that. It's fun to see their success. I want to add Amira Brown to that. Amira Brown came to us. She's had 1 year of junior college experience. This is her first year experiencing Division I as a redshirt sophomore for us. And the growth that she's had this year as well, stepping into a Division I program, having an immediate impact. You see her guarding some of the other team's best players. Those three individuals for us have been impactful for us this year, and they're key contributors, and we're excited for their continued growth.
You mentioned practices being shorter this time of year. How much different is it from your regular preparation, and how do you know how to balance, the work you need to get in and then saving their bodies?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, every team is different, and I think that's the first thing that you have to understand as a head coach is you may have plans and progressions, but the time that you need to spend of being able to have a pulse for your team, having a pulse for where they are and what they need that day and how they can be stretched, how they can be challenged, how they need to be celebrated, and sometimes how they need to be hugged. All of those things goes into the planning and the preparation that it takes to be able to help them peak perform. Traditionally over the course of a season, you start your practices. Usually your official practice can start, early October, late September, and you've got to be able to have your players ready to peak perform in March. That's what it's all about. We have a great sports performance staff with our athletic trainer and our strength and conditioning coach and my coaches. We all work together to make sure that we've got the load right, that we've got the management right, that we know what we're doing all along the way to be able to help them be their best every single time we step on the floor to compete. Traditionally in March, your practices are shorter. We spend a lot of time on the mental side of the game to be able to do film and learn through individual film and film preparation as a team. And I think that's key. You look in March and you see that your physical preparation may be limited in time because you want to be able to use your energy for the game. And it's players like our team who are so dialed in and they're so ready mentally to prepare that allows those sessions and those film sessions to be really productive for the carryover onto the floor.
Michelle?
They played really well at home this season. You guys obviously played really well at home this season. What does it mean to you to have, your family, your own supporters here, game in and game out? And then what does it mean to have them playing on the road here?
Well, I cannot say enough about our home crowd. There is no place like home. We absolutely love the community of Tulsa that's come out time and time again to support us, to be our energy, right? To be those voices in the gym that's going to raise our team higher. And we couldn't be more thankful for that. We have several players on our roster from Oklahoma or from the surrounding area in this region, and to be able to have the support from the families game in and game out that are here, not just supporting their daughter, but supporting our team and supporting our program. And, my family, I'm from Oklahoma, and to be able to have my family come out and support has been a lot of fun. Obviously my kids are very supportive, and you hear them yelling, even my 5-year-old, you hear them cheering in the game, but to be able to have my mom and extended family and people in the area support means a lot to me.
Any other questions?
So I'm sure having gotten a top seed in the conference standings, I'm sure you guys felt like you deserved a shot in the NCAA. Is that something that you guys use as motivation, that we want to go out and win this to prove them wrong?
Yeah, I certainly believe that we've earned the right to be in those conversations. It's fun sitting with our team and talking about, some of the games that we watch on TV. And I'm so proud of our players because the perspective that they have is that could have been us, and they look at those teams and they have the confidence to be able to compete at that level. And I think sometimes that's one of the things that you have to be able to play well in March, is to be able to have that type of confidence. Obviously that is a goal for our program, to be able to compete for a championship championship in the NCAA tournament. But we can't let that slide by and not make the most of the opportunity that we have in front of us. As I mentioned, we're in pretty elite company when there's 24 teams left playing in NCAA sanctioned events between the NCAA tournament and between the WBIT. We have certainly earned the right to be, a host in this event, and we're excited to continue to compete at a high level. And we also want to try to climb higher. The challenge that we have before us this week is gonna allow us to try to make that climb.
We good? You work your whole life to be in a game like this, right? You and all your squad. So, but then when you get to a game like this, the adrenaline levels are so maxed, right? So how do you manage that part of it? Because this might be a new experience for a lot of them.
Yeah, well, we talk a lot about our warrior dial, right? Dialing it up, dialing it down, being able to just mentally and emotionally be in the place that you need to be able to peak perform, and we train to do that. One thing that I love about our conference is that, throughout this year, it has been such a close race, and you see such great parity in our conference that we felt like we've been in big games all throughout the year before we even get to these moments. And so understanding how to manage that, understanding how to peak perform, you go back and you draw on your experience. We were in a 3-game tournament down in Houston where we played Arkansas Pine Bluff and beat them in overtime, and then we played Clemson, in the second round and came up successful against them, and then played Mississippi State in the finals. And so we feel like we've had some experience at playing in games with high energy and high emotion. You're absolutely right. When it's do or die and it's a march and it's win and advance or go home, there is a different level of emotion that can be attached to that. But what I love about our team is the ability to come into those situations and know that we're going to rely on our togetherness and we're going to rely on our teamwork and our toughness.
So apparently, I guess Monday morning, you're probably in the room. Rick Dixon presided over a meeting, like a Monday staff meeting, but he said this is a 5-star event, and we will market it very aggressively. And he said there won't be a bigger event on this campus this spring than this ball game. So do you think your players sense that this kind of has transcended big game and it's really an event?
Absolutely. I absolutely believe that our players understand the magnitude, of not just the game, but the magnitude of being able to have the honor to be able to host something like this on our campus. Can't say enough about the university and the administration and all the effort that is going into this to make sure that it's a great event, to make sure that it's a great fan experience, to make sure that our players have everything, that a big event would have. And so we're thankful for that. But I do believe that our players recognize that, and it's managing the magnitude of those big moments. That's the experience that we want to have, and we have that here.
Right. I guess that's what I asked poorly the first time. This is what you strive for your whole basketball life, and then you get to it, and you're like, ooh, it's different. And Rick, I asked Rick, what is your expected attendance figure? And he said 4,000. 4,000 would be a heck of a crowd. I don't even know. Do you happen to know what the largest crowd for a women's game here? Is it 5,000? And then Rick said, I don't know why 5,000 wouldn't show up for this ball game, but it will. It certainly seems like there's going to be a different vibe, a different noise level, higher stakes, all of it. So, but you feel like your kids will manage that pretty well.
Absolutely. They're for us. That's the fun thing. We have a home court advantage here where we're going to have great support, and we know that, but being able for our players to be in this position is an experience that you long for, that you work for your whole entire life, and I think they're excited for that.
Do they, I just presume everybody knows what Hinkle Fieldhouse is because of Hoosiers, and then you think,
Yeah.
oh, Lord, that was 38 years ago that movie came out.
Measure the rims, right? Let's go.
Right. And Rick said he was going to do that, actually.
Yeah.
Rick Dixon said he was going to do it. So do your kids know what Hinkle Fieldhouse, the significance of it, or do you show them the movie, or what do y'all talk about that?
There may be some things that we do to draw from that and have some fun with our team. And I'm hopeful that we get to do that. I'm hopeful that we'll get to be able to have that experience, of going to Hinkle Fieldhouse and playing in the Final Four. To do that, we've got to have great focus on this process right now. But I'm hopeful with you that we'll be able to do that.
Seems like we haven't really talked a lot about Illinois in this press conference. So let's talk about that. Obviously, you guys have this home record. Do you feel like teams talk about that? I know it's postseason and it's really anybody's game at any point, but do you feel like teams talk about that coming in, that they're going to come into the Reynolds Center and you guys are so dominant at home? And do you feel like that's kind of a step up for you guys?
Yeah, well, I'm not always sure, exactly what they talk about, but there's some things that we can certainly assume that they're talking about, what an advantage we have here playing at home, and one, how well we play here at home. I think there's been some, some opponent coaches that have come in after games and have talked about the environment a little bit, but it's definitely an advantage for us. It's definitely an advantage for us to be able to be in our usual routines, to be able to play here at home. And one of the things that I'm really proud of our team about for this postseason is sometimes you can get into your usual home routine, right? But like you'd mentioned earlier, understanding that yes, we're in our home routine, but this home game is different than other home games is really exciting for them.
And then what have you seen? You got an extra day compared to the Georgetown prep. You get an extra day to really look at Illinois. What do you see from them, and what do you have to take away tomorrow?
Yeah, well, you want to make sure that you balance that rest and recovery with preparation. I think Illinois is a very elite team. I think they're one of the best teams in the Big Ten. You look at who they were able to beat in the Big Ten and who they competed against. They're certainly a high-level team. And you look at the balance that they have. They have great scoring guards. They have great inside play, right? They have great transition. And there's a lot of things that they do really, really well, which makes our preparation a little more broad, right? Which means that we have to be ready for several different things. They're a great defensive team as well, and so there's a lot that we have to get ready for, and I'm excited for our team to do that.
And Coach, just to follow up on that, the Georgetown game was really a clash of styles. I mean, the gritty defensive team, and your defense really stepped up. Your will to win was better at the end of the game, obviously, against Georgetown. This one is a little bit more of styles a little similar. Do you suspect, we don't know how games will go, but do you suspect this will be a more of a free-flowing game the way they like to get it up and down?
I think it will be. I think there will certainly be more possessions in this game because both teams have shown their aggressiveness to play in transition and want to kind of get out and run a little bit. With Georgetown, they certainly pride themselves on making it a half-court game, and at times that was really challenging for us. And you mentioned, we were able to kind of display our toughness and our fight and our grit in that game to continue to maintain our identity even into the fourth quarter, which helped us be really successful. I do think that Illinois is going to be a team that plays both ends of the floor really well. They're a good scoring team. They're a good defensive team, and I think both teams are going to give their best. And I think it's going to be a fun, exciting game. And I know it's going to be challenging for us. But I'm telling you, nobody knows our team's heart. Nobody knows our team's fight, and those are things that we bring absolutely every game.
Anything else?